Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Racha, Kwadash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Harawan Ban Yasharalah of the LIONZ Den camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the sincere Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Ban Yasharalah, coming out of the LIONZ Den camp of Yasharalah here in Jacksonville, Florida. Not today. I'll be coming out with a lesson, and it was mentioned by my elder of this camp of Harawan Ban Yasharalah about running the race and relaying the message of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai and bringing out these prophecies, so that our people can hear and that they can understand, But without further ado, let's get right into it. And I'm going to start out with Matthew chapter 24. And I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, "For many shall come in my name, saying, I am a Mashiach, HaMashiach, and shall deceive many." And we see that right now. And this Yahweh Shai said this 2,000 years ago, that there were going to be false anointed ones or false prophets that was going to come in his name, and we're going to deceive many. And we see that right now, then and now. Just look at the House of Saul camps and their leaders and the things that they supposedly prophesy about, that they supposedly preach about. When you go into the scriptures and you start to measure everything that they say with the scriptures, you find out that they're liars, and you find out that they are of the ones that are going to deceive many, to deceive the children of Israel. But again, for many shall come in my name. Again, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am HaMashiach, and shall deceive many. Verse 6, it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So, and that's what's going on right now. The Lord was saying that we were going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. But the Lord says, don't be troubled, meaning don't be afraid, don't be bothered, because these things have to come to pass. But the end is not yet. So what we are seeing right now with all these nations and these proxy nations, economic war, tariff, sanctions, so forth and so forth, and then this major, war that's happening with Russia and America. Of course, China is going to join in and be on the side of Russia. But even though these things are happening, the end is still not yet, because there are some things that still has to come to pass, such as the RFID, the MOTB, that has to be pushed on a worldwide scale. Jacob's trouble is here, it's happening, but it has to ramp up and become even more serious, even more dangerous, and that will be a judgment for 2/3 of the Negro, Latino, and Native American, the so-called, the children of Israel, the Israelites of the Bible. Continuing, verse 7, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." So these things have to come to pass. These things have to happen, and what we see right now is kingdoms, nations against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. We see that right now. We see the famines. We see the pestilences that are here. We are hearing about the earthquake in diverse places. Earthquakes in places where earthquakes are not normally to happen. Let's say you're catching an earthquake in Spain. They don't get earthquakes in Spain. They having earthquakes in Mexico and stuff like that, and in various places in Iceland and Greenland and around the four corners of the earth. But even then, these are still just the beginning of sorrows. This is just the beginning of the sorrows. there is still much to come. There is still more to come before the ultimate end of the world, or i.e. Babylon, America. I'm going to read all the way down just to give you more. It says, then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's what's going to happen. The prophets are going to be delivered up to be afflicted. People are going to try to have the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. They're going to try to have them killed. They're going to try to have them locked up, or some kind of way, in some form or fashion, put to shame, you know. And we're going to be hated of all nations. And that's that. And as a matter of fact, that's right now. The men of the Lord are hated in all nations wherever we are at, because we preach the truth of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And we are hated for who? Yahweh Hashem Yahushai name's sake. Verse 10. It says, and then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And that's what's going on right now. You have a lot of people being offended of each other, being offended of belief stances, ways of thinking, and it's to a point to where they are betraying one another. People that's supposed to be so-called friends are now enemies. They're turning against each other. They're starting to hate each other, and that's what's going on right now. And this back then was a future prophecy that Yahushua spoke of, and in this day and age we see that. This lets you know that Yahushua was a man of the Lord, and he was not lying. He was a prophet. He was very great in the earth, and he was here to do the will of Yahweh Yahushua, the Heavenly Father. That's what he was here for. Verse 11. It says, and many false prophets shall rise and shall what? Deceive many. And that's what's going on right now. False prophets have arisen and have deceived many. Have deceived quite a bit of people around the four corners of the earth with these false, fake philosophies, doctrines, and beliefs. And these are just signs of the end times. But continuing, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So because iniquity is abounding in this day and age, the love of many is waxing cold. There's no more respect. There's no more cordialness. You know, you walking down the street, especially Jake, you know, you minding your business, and you scan your area, and when you look up, Jake looking you in your face already like he want to do something. But we all know Jake sell wolf tickets. And he really ain't about that life. But you get to a point to where it's no cordialness no more. Well, no respect. You know. We'll say no regard for a man's life. You know, or space. And that's what's going on right now. You're seeing people hate each other. People fighting. Road rage, shooting people all day, dying in road rages and stuff. Somebody cut somebody off. They want to get out the car and start shooting and all kind of mental things. That's the love of many waxing cold. And then like I said, 2,000 years ago when the Lord was on the earth, he prophesied of these things. And 2,000 years later, we see that what Yahushua said was the truth. But let's continue. Because these things are true and they are faithful. And the men of the Lord preach this word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to the ears of our people, so that another brother that is of the hopeful elect of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai can hear this word. As a matter of fact, let's go to Habakkuk first before I bring that out. So that these words can be heard. That's why I got this picture here of, you know, of course, you know, to say Jamaica, but you know, that's Jake, you know, doing the relay. And one brother is handing off the baton to the other brother so that that other brother can get it and run. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2. And I'm going to just go straight to the point. Verse 3. Verse 2. Salakia. It says, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So we write the vision. The vision has been written and made plain upon tables, i.e. the scriptures. The word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has been written down and made plain, made easy to understand, so that the brother that the Lord wake up to this truth can get the message, can get the baton, and take off and run with it and relay this message around the four corners of the earth. Again says, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So that when a brother comes into the knowledge of this truth, comes into the light of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua and being woken up, he can get this message and run and relay it to the next brother, and in hopes that brother wake up and run and relay this message to continue the work of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua in the earth, preaching, prophesying. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. See, the vision, the things that have been spoken of before of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua are for an appointed time. These things will happen in their time. At the end, it's going to speak and not lie. Though it may seem like it's taking a while, though it may seem like it's waiting around, wait for it, meaning be patient, because it will come to pass. It will not wait around. The Lord said it's going to happen, and it's going to happen. So again, we are the men of the Lord, and we are the ones who read the vision, i.e. the scriptures. We are the ones that it is made plain for upon tables, so that we can run. When we read these scriptures, when we read the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, we can pick up the baton, we can pick up the message and relay it around the four corners of the earth to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. As a matter of fact, just around the four corners of the earth in general, because these things are faithful and true. My last point. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua. So we are to speak in the ears of the people of Yasharalah, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. You know, the Lord has put the words of prophecy in our mouth so that we can speak it, so that we can run and relay this message, so that we can prophesy and preach and teach and minister the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Last point. And cause them to be written in paper because they are faithful and true. So these words are to be written down. Cause them to be written in the scriptures, because the scriptures, you know, the book of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the Bible, the pages are made of paper. So these are to be written down. Because why? Because they are faithful and true, and it will happen. And if you can refer back to Habakkuk chapter 2, write the vision to make it plain upon tables, that he that readeth, so like he that read, so like he that, let me just go to it. I'm getting that little again. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, Salakia. Chapter 2 verse 2. It says, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So these scriptures is the table, the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that is made plain, that is made to be understood for those that when they read it, they can run this race of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and fight the good fight of faith and relay this message. Because the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua are faithful and true. So the things that the prophets have spoken of and the things that are to come are the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And they will come to pass. They will not tarry. They are faithful and truth. The Lord said it's going to happen, and it's going to happen. And with that, shalom.